Hi everyone, so I'm gonna attempt this video now, but I might talk about it more thoroughly in the future. But basically, I do want to do this video on how I write tunes. As a disclaimer though, the reason why I haven't talked about it on this channel yet is because I did do for my album one of the rewards for people supporting my album when I was raising money for it was a behind the scenes video on how I wrote the tunes on the album basically, and I didn't want to just like copy that and put it on YouTube because then I feel like people would have the right to complain if I was just putting that work out for free, because that's something that they bought. That is a video that they bought from me, and it had a lot more in that video. It had a whole tour of GBH, some other behind the scenes clip. I even recorded a little clip of a rehearsal and put that in. None of that will be in this video, so yeah, that was then, this is now. And but I will go over some of the things I said about writing tunes. So first things first, I do believe the best tunes are written when you're not thinking about them. A lot of the tunes on my album, they just came to me. Examples are Sarah's Real, Crow Over the Water, I don't know, tunes like that that just really came to me. A few of the tunes on this album I did not make that way though. I was still trying to learn tunes. Some of those are the first tunes that I ever wrote, like some of the Strathspeys and the marches, which you can probably tell. But so for that, I used, I took the structure of a tune, decided how many parts I wanted in the tune, and I tried to follow the typical format of a tune instead of just improvising it, because I was trying to study how tunes were written. So those are the two ways I know anyway, of how to write tunes. A lot of it is improvisation though. So yeah, and in my album behind the scenes video, I went over Sarah's Real and how I wrote that. I do have a lesson on Sarah's Real on this channel still up, so if you want to go check that out, feel free. I might talk about that a little bit in that video. I'm not sure. I made it a while ago, but a lot of it is really just improvisation. And also, by the way, I'm at Broke Camp. I did not bring my modern violin with me. I have no modern violin here. I decided I wanted full exposure into this style, so I only have, well, I have two fiddles here. I decided to bring this is mine, back out of the case because I was using that one for all of last week. And actually it ties in really well because in our technique class we did talk quite a bit about improvisation and basically just taking melody and improvising on it. We actually went over, we all kind of stood up in front of the class, and this is pretty scary, but the melody. And basically in Baroque, you improvise ornaments. So like that. And that's kind of how I do that in tune writing. So, like, basically Sarah Rio. I haven't tried to play that on Baroque violin yet, but basically I kind of was just noodling on the fiddle in the key of E minor. So it's gonna sound like that when you start, and then I just do that a lot over like a couple days a week. And what happens is I don't mind if I miss any notes. I try and keep track of where I like go off key or something like that, which does happen. But basically I record myself sometimes and listen back and kind of try and look for the parts that I liked. And other times I don't even do that. I just play and play and play until I find something I like, and then I play that. Once I have like a few notes that I can use in the melody that work, and a good like bass, like say I had like that, but then I like wasn't sure of the ending or something. And it was still something like that. I just make a mental note where I'm missing notes, and in my head, or you can do this on a keyboard too if you play piano. I don't, so but I try and fill in the missing notes basically from there until I get a melody. And I also try and keep in mind the chords. So after I pick a key, which I'll talk about in a sec, like basically, I mean, if I just have that, I basically like start with 1 4 5 1 and take it from there basically. So yeah, how I choose my keys. So for the album, a lot of the tunes actually had, like, I knew already what the key was going to be before I started writing the tune. And that was because I knew what I wanted the tune to be about. So what I have here, my fancy computer, is basically a, just checking, a list of keys, key meanings, and their characteristics. So basically you can find this online, just search like meaning of keys, and this goes through every single key, and there are adjectives or descriptions of the emotional meanings of the keys. So for example, crow over the water, F major. Actually, that was chosen by a different method involving like chakras and the letters and numbers, correspondences. Anyway, you don't need to do that. That's just what I did. But it does fit with my crow over the water. It's a calm. It's not angry, but it's kind of got a religious feeling to it. It's composed, and that's exactly like the feeling that I wanted for that particular tune. Another good example is the G minor set: discontent, uneasy, bad-tempered, the whole minor major conflict thing. Resentment, dislike. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't take these too literally. Obviously, they're open for interpretation, and I encourage everyone to find your own meanings of the keys, basically, and what you want the keys to mean. You can think about what I like to think about sometimes, what like colors do they make me think of? What if you're like sitting back and relaxing and listening to a piece, what does it make you think of? And then, do I want to emulate that in my own tune? And how to do that? And from there you get your key, your rhythm, your type of tune. If you want a reel, it's gonna be fast, it's gonna be a spirited, more energetic type of motive. Or if you want something calm like an air or a slow tune, that's fine too. So yeah, that's what I think about when I am choosing my keys and my tunes. So my types of tunes. So once I've got my key and I've got the feeling in my, or maybe it can also work the other way, that I don't have a specific feeling I'm reaching for. I'm just composing, and whatever comes out, and it's meant to be whatever it's meant to be. And I've often had this a lot with some of the tunes. I think I mentioned in a couple of the teaching videos that I wanted a tune to be a specific way so much, but it wasn't working, and it just kept on not working, like some of the marches, and there was only like one way that it worked, and it was in the completely wrong key that I wanted it to be in. It was like not the right feeling that I wanted, but it worked better than what I wanted. I'm thinking in particular of Ghost March. I can't play it on program. So yeah, but I wanted that to be like a Fierce tune, and I wanted like but like if you play that 2 times through, exactly that way. That's boring. That's just gonna get boring and nobody wants that. So I came up with the idea of making it spooky. It's after all like a ghost march. Like I wanted it to be about a ghost, but I wasn't playing it in a particularly spooky way. So that's why I changed it to be a little bit like this. Not sure why that sounds wrong. I'm broke violin. But yeah, so yeah, that's kind of my process. On the other hand, something like one of my newer tunes, like the ones for my friends, Steph and Cordy in particular, they told me actually beforehand kind of what they wanted. That they wanted it to be very nostalgic, full of memory, and I ended up writing this waltz. I forget how it goes now, but it's on my channel. Steph and Courtney's waltz and the friendship reel. And I had to decide, okay, do I want it to be like a fast tune? That's what I initially wanted to write for them, but I kept thinking, this should go faster, this should go faster. But no, it ended up being slow waltz into a kind of a slow trio, so yeah, that might not be everybody's preferred style of playing, but that is like kind of what they wanted that tune to be, so I had to respect that because I had to write a bunch of tunes for other people, and everyone had a different idea of what they wanted, and I had to really put a lot of thought into that. And yeah, so that's an example. Another example is just yeah, so the new tunes, somebody wanted a like very energetic fast reel, and normally I'm good at writing those, but I had to rewrite that one a couple times as well. Can't remember how that one goes either. My brain is dead. And yeah, but some of them were open-ended. For instance, actually that's not very open-ended. That one, I knew what I wanted it to be about. That one's for my brother, and Summoner. He didn't really care that much what type of tune he wanted and what the style was going to be, but I was like, no, this one has to be about a frisbee game. And so I came up with this 4-part reel, and the way I wrote that one was actually kind of in my head. Because when I watch frisbee games, I love the sound of it, like, you know, the sound of them throwing the frisbee, catching the frisbee, the yelling and screaming and, you know, all, but it's like in a very, it's like in kind of a controlled way. Like, I don't know if you've never been to a frisbee game, I don't know, but I sat down and closed my eyes. I put on a video of a frisbee game without any commentary, and I listened and I followed the sounds in my brain. I can't remember how I chose the key, but anyway, yeah, it ended up being N Summoner. And I do like, that's a good point actually, I do like to add in little bits in my tunes of things that remind me of other things. So for example, this. At the ends of phrases, that's like them throwing the frisbee like an overhead or something and catching it and like putting it in the goal or something over the goal line. And yeah, also another example obviously is Jemmy's jig. I wanted that to be in there because I was watching Jemmy, my dog, roll around in the grass one day, and he was kind of tumbling in a circle. He had a shoe in his mouth. He was flinging around, tumbling over it and onto the grass. So I said I wanted it like a fast little rundown somewhere, so it's actually really just an ornament, but and obviously I wanted that to be a slide because he had this very high-pitched yawn that always was on the note G. I have perfect pitch, as I know. And so that's how I know what key to do that one in. That one wasn't a question. So yeah, it's never gonna be the same technique every single time. That's what I'm trying to get at. So yeah, normally I like to just improvise my tunes. Lately I haven't been doing very much of that. What has worked for me though is getting someone to write me a tune. So if someone says to me, like Hanukkah, my teacher says to me, Isabel, write a tune in F major or B flat major or whatever kind of key, then it comes. But I have not been able to do it by myself lately. So I don't know, I'm like, maybe it's just the state of the world we're in right now is very depressing and not conducive to continuing. So anyway, yeah, basically that's how I've been doing it lately. And yeah, and the other way of course is following the structure of a tune. So for instance, like marches, one of them I wrote completely away from the violin because I was injured and I couldn't play. So I think I talk about that in a tune tutorial video, which is on my channel. Go check it out. But that one went through a lot of things. It was like originally, obviously that was way too close to sorry, just had to play it. It was too close to that tune, so I had to change it. Instead of going up to the, I couldn't go there, so I went to the A string instead. And then I dissected each phrase that's kind of high rearrange the tunes to you guys, so I like picked apart what's phrase 1. Sorry, I didn't play that very well. And I was like, okay, that's a new phrase, it's a different key, it's not the key, you know. Third phrases are usually the same as first phrases. And then there's the ending. So this is practice Baroque violin. Anyway, yeah. But you have that like 4-bar structure. If you can parse that out in your structure that in your mind, and then come up with your own melody, like still improvising, but it's following a set structure, not just like needling until you find something that works. That is also. And then you can make sure your endings match. That way, easier and all that kind of thing. That's also a perfectly fine way of doing it. Anyway, I think this video is long enough. And that is how I write tunes. You can look up those emotional meanings of keys on the internet. It is there somewhere. If I find it, I'll link it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you again soon. Sorry I haven't been posting a lot. It's very busy at this camp, and it's also so hot, and I don't know what to post except Baroque stuff because I only have a Baroque violin, so. But I will be back with more exciting content soon. So, thanks for watching. See you later.